on the East Coast.
So it is Monday, Movement Monday, and you guys, today, and I think over the next couple of weeks, we're gonna be talking about your shoulder health. Okay, and today we're gonna be doing an exercise, but before we jump into that, just sharing with you an intention as to why we're doing this video. So, for one, with regards to just modern living and just the shoulder anatomy, your shoulder is one of the joints that is the most prone to being injured. And one of the reasons why that is the case is there is 4 different types of joints, but your shoulder joint is what we call a ball and socket joint, okay? So, how do you call this part? The humerus?
The bone?
Yeah. The humerus, right, like, just gets inserted into,
the head of the humerus.
The head of the humerus gets inserted, what is it, like it's a bunch of bones jumbled up together, okay? But basically, because it is a ball and socket joint, that just means that generally, when you're born, there is a greater form of mobility, and that's why with your shoulders, you're able to go up, down, side, all around, right? So it's a very mobile joint. So basically, that being said, it's also prone to a lot more injury, but obviously due to 21st century living and just modern lifestyle. Gosh.
This song is really long today.
Okay, now we're good. Okay, due to modern living, we're also putting ourselves in a state that increases our likelihood of being prone to injuries like the shoulder injury.
So, yeah, with the shoulder, because it moves in so many different degrees and ranges of motion, it's way more susceptible to injury. And if the other thing with the shoulder is that there's so many things connected in here on the front and in the back that it gets junked up really easy. So you have your chest muscles attach in here, your lats, which is one of your biggest muscles in your body, attaches up here in the shoulder, your deltoid attaches in here, your bicep, your tricep, you've got other back muscles that are deeper that connect in here, you've got your pec minor that attaches in here. Like, there's so many muscles that connect in such a small area inside here. Mm-hmm. Ligaments, tendons, all are trying to fit in this one spot. And so, it's easy for people to get impingement and to get, tears and to get, there's so much stuff happening in here that how do we take care of the shoulders so that they stay healthy?
Yeah, and for any of you guys who are dedicated to doing your workouts, the reason why this is important, even if you're not injured, is because if you reduce your risk of shoulder injury because so many muscles are attached to it, you're going to be able to do a lot more movements for a way longer period of time. So if you are more susceptible to a shoulder injury because maybe you're sitting on a chair all day, or maybe because you've had shoulder injuries in the past, or if you haven't had any injuries but you're looking to like you're in it for the long haul, then this video is for you, simply because your shoulder health matters when it comes to creating longevity within your workouts. Now, I know a bunch of you guys have had shoulder injuries in the past, and if you have a shoulder injury, it's not like you can't work out anymore, but when you have to modify a lot of things a lot of time, like, it gets annoying. And like, all you can do is your best with what you've got. But what if I told you, like, dude, we can avoid that happening, like, altogether, so that you don't even have to get to modification questions like, would you be more likely to do this? Yes, absolutely. Nobody told me this when I started training, and that's why I ended up, you know, like ripping my shoulders apart, not just one time, but 2 times, because I didn't learn from the first time. I wasn't giving a sound reason. I was just told like do this or do that, like there wasn't any explanation as to why, and I ended up doing stupid shit once again. And you know, we don't want that to be you guys as well. Also, if you're currently going through an injury, then know that this exercise is going to help to heal your injury over time. Okay, so now that we went through some shoulder facts, we're going to talk about the mobility stability model. So because your shoulder is more mobile in general from, you know, other joints, because it is a ball and socket joint, naturally you're born with a greater level of mobility. But of course, due to your lifestyle choices, your level of mobility may be decreased over time. And here's the thing, like the more mobile your shoulder is, the less stable it is. The more stable your shoulder is, the less mobile it is. Okay, so what we're going to go over today is going to be an exercise that's going to make your shoulders bulletproof for 2 reasons. It's going to help to increase your range of motion with regards to different shoulder movements, while also increasing your shoulder stability through a lot of scapular movements, and by default just create healthier shoulders. These are, go ahead.
Amy recommends to keep your shoulders healthy. Don't get your arm tangled in a dog leash.
That's true too.
Very, very sound advice.
That is sound advice. Sometimes when we take Boogie for a walk, he literally just like does that to me, and like there's a bunch of times where I'm like, dude, like if I wasn't as strong as I was.
But if your shoulders are stable and you know how to use them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so you know, the protocol that we're going to go over today is a protocol that we literally do before each and every workout. You know, like I said, I had 2 shoulder injuries, and ever since I started doing this sequence, like I have not had any single problem with my shoulders whatsoever. So you know, like if I can, so can you. And if your shoulders are currently good, then that's freaking awesome. But know that we're all just one day away. So keep your shoulders bulletproof, just so that you will be safer for the long haul.
Turn and face that way. And stay in the camera. Okay. Lift your arm, straight elbow, overhead. This, like, where could you get to before? Like, how
With
many
my shoulder?
5 years ago. What was the worst that you were at?
Oh, I was like here.
Like, Sarit couldn't lift her arm past here without pain, without feeling like it just gets stuck. And
I think I even have a photo of it.
do it again. And now she's here. Look, like she can literally, don't throw your head, almost cover her ear with her bicep, which is ideally where you want to be able to get to. And, you know, if you're younger, okay, go ahead. If you're younger, you know, a great way that you can practice this right now is training yourself for more stability, but moving in a full range of motion. So when you're doing movements that are, this is preventative, when you're doing movements that are, you know, involve the motion of your shoulder joint, whether it's a chest press, a pull-up, an overhead press, a row, anything where your shoulders are moving, any upper body exercise basically, except for bicep curls and wrist curls, which most likely you don't need to be doing those in your prescription anyways. Move in a full range of motion. So if you're pressing or pulling overhead, if your arms are supposed to, like, anatomically come down this far and go up this far, move them in that full range of motion. So in other words, don't be doing half reps of something. When people do pull-ups and they go here and then they don't get their arms all the way straight, you're only training that muscle in that short range of motion. Or dudes will do this all the time. I'm calling you out straight up, don't even care. I don't know if most of the time, I'm making that up, but a lot of the time, we would watch guys at the gym do bench press with a little shorty range of motion because you can pump more weight and it feeds your ego. But what happens then when you like can't open up your arms all the way or touch your shoulders because you haven't used those muscles in a full range of motion. You've only used them partially. So as for preventative, if your shoulder mobility is good, like if you can get your arm above your head with a straight elbow right now and like there's no pain, then preventative is work on your stability and your strength of your shoulders, but in a full range of motion.
Yeah, and that's why, for a lot of you guys, by the way, if you're doing any of our training programs, can you just do us a favor and drop in the comments, like which training program are you currently following? We'd love to know. But that's why a lot of you guys, when you started training with us, you're like, whoa, I'm getting stronger and my range of motion is increasing. That's because you're going through a full range of motion for each and every single one of your movements. And if you're unable to do so, it's probably because you just have scar tissue there, either because you've had a prior injury or because your body just hasn't moved that way in a really long time. Use it or lose it. That goes for strength movements, that goes for mobility movements also. In fact, when I started training the right way, which was in 2012, my shoulder mobility was so bad that I was told by multiple people that there would be certain movements that I'd never be able to do, which, of course, I have this thing where I love to prove people wrong.
Or prove yourself right.
Or prove myself right, but that is because I went into it like having moved poorly, having been guided through what is a full range of motion movement, and then, just complete grit and sacrifice. However, you gotta know your shit. If you don't know how to take care of yourself as you're going through these things, you could hurt yourself. So anyways,
you want to see what training programs they're in?
Yeah.
We got Burn Zone 2, Burn Zone 1, UTC, Burn Zone 2, UTC, Burn Zone 1, almost done with Burn Zone 2. Burn Zone just completed day 25. Burn Zone 1, ending Burn Zone 1. Tanya, how many of us have our arms above our heads right now checking to see if we cover their ears? Burn Zone 1. Burn Zone 3, day 1 today. Awesome.
Good, you guys.
Yeah.
So keep on going.
Lots of burn zones.
Keep on going through the burn zones. My wish for each and every one of you guys is that you stay consistent with the burn zones and that you get to the underground training club. I want each and every one of you guys to be in the underground training club. This is where the real stuff
That's where the
happens.
real party
This
is.
is where the real party is at the whiteboard. For those of you guys who are in the underground.
Mel Williamson is done with Burn Zone 4 in 12 workouts.
What?
Hey.
Let's talk about the underground training club today. Vox me so I remember. Okay, but all right. So let's talk about for one of the pieces of equipment that we really love to use for that is the crossover symmetry. Okay. You don't need to have a crossover symmetry in order to do these movements. However, I would highly encourage each and every one of you guys, if you know that you're in it for the long haul, crossover symmetry is an investment, but man, I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I think it's like $150 for the two pieces. Like I said,
show an alternative way to do the movements.
Yeah, we'll show both. We like the crossover symmetry because the movement just feels better, but you can also do it with some plates. So movement model is gonna get right to it. So let's just show them what is the crossover symmetry and what weights do we use for that.
this is a crossover symmetry. There's like 4 or 5 different bands that you can get for this. But essentially it's just like a carabiner hooked on to a stable object. And we have on here a 7-pound resistance and a 15-pound resistance. So there's movements that we do with the 7-pound, and there's different ones that we do with the 15-pound. I think they have that ranges between like 5 pounds and
like 25.
25 pounds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. So we attach these straps, and we want them at eye height for the top, and then we also have some at the bottom because there's a couple different movements that we can do. So we have this down here also. So we can just take this if we want to, clip it down here, and we're working from a different angle. So what is our routines are a little bit different, the things that we do. We can go through yours.
Yeah, let's go.
I do this for preventative. My shoulders generally feel pretty good.
So do I, yeah.
But
yeah, when you become consistent with that, you're simply doing this for like prehab, okay? So that you don't have to ever get there, God forbid.
so we'll do this for those who have or are going to invest in a crossover symmetry. We're going to go through these movements, but we're also going to go through these same movements and how you can get the same stimulus or a similar stimulus. The cool thing about this is that they're on a bungee, so the further away you pull it, like a band, the further away you pull it from what it's attached to, the more resistance you feel.
Uh-huh.
And that's what's cool about these. But you can mimic the movements and the stimulus with other objects or
Like
no
a-
objects.
Like a plate, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll show you what that looks like too.
Yeah. All right, so you're gonna start by having the crossover symmetry at your eye level. The reason why it's called crossover symmetry is because for each and every one of these movements, you need to be crossing over the 2 bungees. So movement number 1, your hands are gonna be straight in front of you. And you're gonna retract your scapular muscles. And the name of the movement is called a T. So the intention here is that you squeeze these muscles in the back, okay?
Not up here by your neck.
Right. I'm actually gonna... So for each and every one of these movements, we're going for high reps, okay? For anything prehab, repetition is key. This is more of what we call hypertrophy. So go ahead, do 2 more. Do you guys see how like Erin's muscles are just like screaming? Okay, this is not something that you do like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get so jacked. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so jacked because I do this for a long period of time and I'm not injured.
It burns, but it's not like heavy.
Right. So the next movement that you're gonna do is the lat retractions.
Is the lighting good over there?
Huh?
Is the lighting good over there? How come you're over there? Does this one not work?
And it works. I don't know.
Are you looking for something specific?
No. I mean, I wanted to show them like how your muscles were being activated.
Is my butt eating my shorts again?
Yeah, it always does. That's okay.
Okay, great. All right, so what's next?
So as far as distance goes too, like you want to walk back just enough to like, you know, where you're feeling a good amount of tension. Like if you walk all the way back, that's definitely a lot. If you walk a little bit, that, you know, you're going to feel some tension. So
we want tension the whole time, not the loosey-goosey.
So next up, you're going to hinge at your hip, and then we're gonna go for lat.
Can you do this one?
I do that at the end.
Oh, okay, great.
So you're gonna hinge at the hip, starting position, arms are gonna be straight in front of you, and you're gonna sweep all the way back.
Do you use these ones?
Yeah, I do. That's enough for me.
What are we looking for here?
Yeah, so you're looking to really engage your lats here. Okay?
What are my lats?
So the lat is the muscle that starts at the insertion, like right here, and goes all the way down here. Okay, so around your shoulder, there's a lot of muscles that are just helping to obviously move the humerus. And the lat is one of them. It's a really, really big muscle that allows you to basically the prime mover of any sort of pulling movement. Okay, so 10 of those here, and then you're gonna actually bring the crossover symmetries to the bottom. So those, movement number 2 is called the lat retraction. Movement number 1 was the tease. Next up, so you're gonna face the other direction, face us. So the next one is just shoulder raises. Okay, you're gonna take one foot is gonna go forward just to help you stabilize, and here you're raising your arms up, but as you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're engaging your scapular muscles in the back. Okay, so raising position while keeping your shoulders engaged at the same time. So like, you know, going back to the story about, you know, like the dog with the leash, like if you know how to retract your shoulders and keep them engaged at all times, when your dog, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, tries to pull you, you're going to immediately retract and protect your shoulder.
So retraction is basically like tucking your shoulder blades into your back pocket. So if I'm not retracted and I'm doing this, I'm going to be hunched forward, my shoulders are going to be rounded forward, and it's going to be this kind of like
man
weird, versus I'm up tall, my shoulders are pulled back, I'm squeezing my shoulder blades like I'm trying to hold a pencil right there between them and pulling at the same time. And it's always a control on the way down. It's not up and then boom.
Yeah, so you're gonna feel your shoulders feeling really strong here, and you're gonna feel a little burn in your front deltoids. Okay, next up, what?
Front deltoid.
Yeah.
I was pointing to it.
Oh, got it. Okay, so next up, Erin's gonna face the other side of the wall once again. And we call these snow angels. You guys, for any of you guys who did the burn zone, you've seen a lot of snow angels. You know how it basically burns the entire backside. But what you want to focus on here is retraction throughout the entire movement.
Which way do my hands go?
Up. No. Pronated.
Nobody knows what that means.
Okay, so arms, palms facing down. So go ahead and raise your arms all the way up. And the goal here is to keep your back flat instead of kind of like breaking at the spine. If you have a tight back, then a lot of times you'll want to kind of like spaghetti it, in the sense that you lose tension in your back. You know, keep everything engaged and bring your arms up as high as you can.
So pull your rib cage into your hips.
And then bring your arms all the way down. So because the crossover symmetry has this tension coming in from the front, by you doing your part to engage your shoulders, you're gonna feel the burn. Because what Erin's doing is she's basically keeping everything on the backside really tight. Okay, so you're gonna feel it all the way from here to here. It's like, okay, so it works on literally like on your scapular muscles. It works on your mid and lower traps, actually upper traps as well. You know, your lats. So lots of muscles are being engaged here. And then we're gonna do the WWs.
From here?
Yeah. So then WWs up. So Erin's elbows are gonna go up to the ceiling, engaging here. And then she's going to do another W, bringing her fingers to point to the ceiling, and then she's going to punch the ceiling up. Yeah. So there's lots of movement here. This one is gonna burn the most. That's why we're ending with this one, because we wanna prime you by engaging all of the other muscles beforehand. Good. Yeah. So that's that. So the movements that we talked about here were the T's, followed by lat retractions, followed by shoulder raises, followed by snow angels, followed by WWs. If you were to do this before each and every single one of your workouts, I guarantee you,
Over time.
that shoulder injury will not be a thing in your life. Over time.
What about if they don't have a...
Oh, yeah. Sorry. See, this is why there's two of us. If you
99 out of 100 of you don't have one of these.
Yeah. If you guys don't have the crossover symmetry, that's fine. You can still do it. Honestly, if you're new to these movements, just by doing it without any weights, you're gonna feel the burn anyways. However, you can start with a 2.5 pound plate. You can even build up to a 5 pound plate.
There's a couple of different ways that you can do this if you don't have any equipment. So let's do this.
On the floor.
Let's do that. Oh, y'all are in an earthquake. Earthquake. Okay, so you can mimic some of these movements. The lat one, these pull-throughs will be a little bit different. You might need some kind of a band to get that same stimulus. You can attach the band to something, and you can try to...
The band is it's gonna be so different.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way that you can try to get that same stimulus. But with everything else, with the T's, with the... Can you see my full self if I'm here?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the T's and with all of that, don't touch things.
Why? They can see you well.
Okay, so what else did we do? The T's, the WWs,
The snow angels.
the raises, stuff like that. You can do, the snow angels will be hard to mimic. The snow angels will be hard to mimic because there's no resistance pulling from in front of you. But the T's, you can just bend over this way, pull your shoulders back, and we can get that same kind of stimulus. And then with the WWs here, no, you didn't. Is that how we did it? What did I just do? Here,
Yeah.
Here, right? And then
Snow angels.
snow angels, and then we had the front raises. So you can do front raises here, all the way up overhead. You can come here and you can front raise. So if you don't even have those weights, or if those are too heavy for you, you can also just do on the floor, facing down. Different things like that. You can pulse up here. So basically, we're just trying to retract the shoulders in different ranges of motion.
Yep.
If you have a lot of tightness too, actually, something that is helpful, if you have just a lot of like tightness in here, is if you bend over and let your shoulder just hang with a really light weight, and just let it swing around in both directions, just to kind of create some space, just to let it pull, not a heavy weight, just a light, like a 5 maybe, and just let it kind of create some space is also helpful.
Yeah. Teresa Snyder asked, is it better to be bent at the waist when using the plates? For the most part, yes.
Is it better what?
To be bent at the waist when using the plates. For the most part, yes.
Yeah, because otherwise you're not going to have any resistance on the weights, because #gravity.
Yeah. So this is recommended for each and every one of you guys who, is really in it to win it for the long haul with regards to your training, as well as for anybody who has had shoulder injuries in the past. I will tell you this, that if you've had shoulder injuries in the past and you start doing this, don't expect to feel a difference within 1 day or even 3 weeks. It is literally just like with weight loss, just like with anything in life. But I guarantee you that if you do this 5 days a week before each and every single one of your workouts, within 6 months you're gonna be like, wow,
Can you give me the red one?
like I can actually raise my arm and grab a coffee without
I can grab the plate out of
without
the
feeling pain. I can drive without feeling pain. You guys, I used to be in so much pain where every time I would drive, I would have to do this. I would have to, there was a point that would always hurt me, right? And I feel like my shoulder got so much stronger, I can't even squeeze on it. But I would have to squeeze on it because it would just hurt to be here. Every time I had to get a coffee, I would have to raise my arm because it would hurt. None of that shit. You don't have to go through it. You just have to be persistent. But remember this, just like Chrome, I was gonna get to that. Just like Chrome, Bulletproof shoulders are not built overnight. It took you years to have unhealthy shoulders. What makes you think that, after one good stability and mobility exercise, you're gonna be bulletproof? You're not, right? You have to train yourself.
Just so everybody knows, this is where I get stuck on spelling collagen.
Collagen. A-G-E-N.
Collagen.
And then for anybody who wants to reduce their likelihood of not just shoulder injury, but any joint injury, as a matter of fact, and increase joint health, which we would highly recommend for anybody who is, already active. If you're not already active, then first you need to get active. But you need to get on these 3 supplements: the joint floor, the omega D3, and the collagen and greens. And we will tell you why, because we bet that in a lot of places or videos you're like, take this, do that. You go to the doctor, they tell you to do this. But if I'm not told why I need to do something, I'm like, why should I bother?
I mean, a bunch of them were told this look like their PT exercises. So if we're saying the same thing as your PT and we're making a recommendation of supplements, look, we'll tell everybody all the time, supplements are not going to change the game for you. Consistency is going to change the game for you. But that's also consistency in your movement and consistency in your supplementation. Supplementation is meant to supplement, to increase the results of whatever you're working towards, right? So, you know, with those of you who are already order a product from X Endurance, they work wonders. And you can ask anybody who's taken them. Your story with the joint 4, with your knees. Sarit was doing an 800-meter walking lunge challenge. Yeah, for 30 days, 800 meters of walking lunges with a 20-pound vest. What? Okay, so anyways, she was doing her lunges. Her knees started hurting, so she asked me to come look at her form. I'm like really heavily nitpicking her form. I'm like, I mean, this and that maybe, but like that shouldn't cause that amount of pain. And then what you noticed, what was it, a couple days later, you're like, you know what's different? You're like, we ran out of the joint 4, and she hadn't been taking it for a few days. And then we got it, and she was taking it again, and then about a week and a half or something later, it just dawned on me. I was like, hey, how are your knees? She's like, oh, actually, they're fine. So it's like people notice when you notice when you stop taking them.
Yeah.
Like, how many times do you notice the good things that are happening in your life and recognize them and acknowledge them and be grateful for them? You're like, yeah, it's going good. My car turned on today so I can get from point A to point B. I'm so grateful. We don't acknowledge or recognize that, but when your car doesn't fucking start, you realize it. So when you take them, you're like, it's not doing anything. Stop taking them. I dare you. See what happens.
Yeah.
So they really do work. I'm going to put a link, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put a link in the description. If you already order it, you know where you can go to order it. If you don't know, but you have ordered and you're just confused, just reach out to me, let me know. I'm happy to help. These have literally changed our life, and I'm convinced I'm going to live to be at least 120 years old. So there's that. I'm not making a claim, I'm just saying.
Here's my goal.
To be
I
90.
want all of us to be training in the underground training club when we're like hella old,
like
guys.
75.
So like I want to be walking up the street when we're 60s. And
we're creating an army.
Going out on a date with you, and it's like, you guys look great. How old are you? And I'm like, I'm 65. No way, you look like you're 40. When we have kids, our goal is to be the hottest moms in school.
The MILFs, the biggest MILFs.
Yeah. And then, you know, like when we're older, our goal is to look better than our younger friends. You know, and then when we're hella old, like our goal is to do like cool shit when we're old. So everybody can be like, yo, this 90-year-old bitch just in a bar must love. Yeah, we want to be
This
those
90-year-old.
people. This is what we train for, you guys. Every day is an opportunity to train towards where you're going, like way out in life. But most people don't even live with that level of consciousness. They think that they're bulletproof. They think that they're invincible until something hits them. Every meal matters, every thought matters, every conversation matters, every supplement that you take or don't take matters. Everything affects everything else, okay? So just really live intentionally. The reason why I want to take the Omega D3 is because, for one,
Everything affects
not all omegas are created equal, and that's why we recommend that specific one. Omega-3s are great for reducing total systemic inflammation. You work out, you get inflammation. You eat shit, you get inflammation. You live today, you breathe some dirty air, you get inflammation.
You walked down the street and came back?
Yeah.
Inflammation.
The reason why there's D3 in it is because D3 increases the level of absorption of your omega-3. It's not about what you just consume, it's also about what's being absorbed. And the reality is, you guys, did you know this, that 90% of people are deficient in vitamin D3? Like, if you're living in any state other than Florida or California, chances are that you're vitamin D deficient because it's really cold. You know, but you know what, like with modern living, like you could be living in a warm place, but if you're like indoors all day, then guess what, you're probably still vitamin D deficient, right? So it helps to increase the absorption. And then the collagen and greens, because it's micronutrients and help with tissue repair. Tissue repair other than muscles, okay? So there you have it, bulletproof shoulders, bulletproof life, bulletproof army. If you're a part of this army, you need to get on this shit. You need to do this shit. If you're in the underground training club, also do yourself a favor and get the crossover symmetry. If not today, you can do that over time. Yeah, and that's all you got.
That's all you got.
Bulletproof shoulders, part 1. We will see you guys tomorrow for Q&A day.
Woo! Daniela, the unicorn for the community engagement, will be posting the link, if she hasn't already, because she's a boss.
Yeah.
She will be posting the link to submit your questions. So make sure you keep an eye out for that on our ENS group. This is the business page. Tammy Bell just ordered a crossover symmetry band. That's awesome.
Nice.
Cool. Hey guys, have an amazing day. Don't be distracted too much by Sarit's dance moves, but it's difficult because they're awesome. And we will catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.